Armed military vehicles and members of the National Guard have started showing up all over DC after Donald Trump took control of the Capitol, and it's a pretty scary sight. Just take a look.
And see if we can't just show you a little bit more of this visual. Again, this is, we have been told about the increased federal law enforcement presence in the city. And this is really the first major visual that we have seen. You have some onlookers coming and kind of asking these people questions and posing for pictures. And we're going to see in earnest what the National Guard presence is going to be in the nights and days ahead as they really increase the law enforcement presence in this city. Kate?
Yeah, as it ramps up and what it looks and how it...
Yeah, pretty terrifying that the capital of this country has now been militarized by the President of the United States, who thinks he has absolute power. And we all know this is not actually about fighting crime, because number one, crime in DC is at a 30-year low. But also number two, if Donald Trump actually cared about crime prevention, he wouldn't be proposing $500 million in cuts to the FBI and firing a bunch of people from the DOJ, firing a bunch of people from the FBI. That's the opposite of fighting crime. This is just a stunt. Donald Trump wants more power, more control, and that's exactly what he's doing. And this looks like a scene from a movie where a dictator rises in the United States.
Well, breaking fuck the news. Everybody, everything we were screaming about has actually happened. Welcome to the Fourth Reich. I'm going to give you a breakdown. Me, Bartender, and Christian just watched pretty much the entirety, not the whole thing. He started rambling at the end of Donald Trump's speech and about his military takeover of D.C. And yes, I said military takeover. Trump has said he's getting rid of the slums and the slums where criminals live. He knows it's not politically correct, but we are. He's going to change no cash bail in D.C. He's going to try to get rid of sanctuary cities in its entirety. 500 officers for multiple agencies and federal agencies are going to be working the streets of D.C., formally declaring a public safety emergency on D.C. Attorney General Pam Bondi is taking control of the Metro Police Department, and everything wrong in D.C. is because of woke culture and will bring the military if needed, is what he said at first. Then Pete Hegseth immediately stood up right after that and said under the president's guise, they have mobilized the National Guard to the D.C. area and will bring other special forces to come into the D.C. area if needed. The U.S. Marshal will be in charge of everything going on. A U.S. Marshal will be in charge of everything pretty much going on in the works of the D.C. area along with Pam Bondi and Pete Hegseth. They will be removing all homeless encampments all over D.C. They will try their best to take care of the homeless and house them if they can. 800 National Guard are to help remove encampments. Judges are letting killers go. These are just highlights of shit that was said. They're going to go after the D.C. Council and the ridiculous rules and laws they've set for the District of Columbia. Executive Order Section 40, this is what Donald Trump signed, that gave him complete and total control to send the National Guard into D.C., is Section 40 of the Home Rule Act. Also signed an executive presidential memo to utilize the National Guard, authorize state governors to use their National Guard as they see fit. Well, we fucking told you so. Welcome to the Fourth Reich.
So 1,000 National Guard people are now going to D.C. as well as enforcing a curfew. This is straight out of Project 2025's playbook, and we should be terrified. He started in L.A., he's going to D.C., he will do this to every major American city. Wake the fuck up. And I find it funny that all of a sudden Trump can deploy the National Guard in D.C. Where the fuck was that on January 6th? Where the fuck was that on January 6th? So on my last post about the federal government taking over Washington, D.C., with Donald Trump and correctly stating about it being about violent crime, even though crime is at a 30-year low, people are asking, what should we be doing? What can we do? It starts with your friends and your family. If you have been avoiding these conversations with your friend group or with your family, or if you haven't cut those people off, it is time to get them off the sideline. It is time that if you have those friends that are like, well, it's political, I don't do politics. But, you think they lean left, but they're just like, I don't know if this affects me. Tell them to wake the fuck up. These are fucking conversations you need to be having with your friends and with your family that are not necessarily on the right, but are just check the fuck out. Uncheck them out. And also, like I said on my last post, Donald Trump specifically mentioned cities that he's going to come after next. Baltimore, Oakland, he mentioned Chicago, and New York City. Don't forget New York City. These are all cities he's going to come after next. This is not fear-mongering. And I saw a very popular left-leaning creator talk about if you think this is the start of him doing martial law, that's fear-mongering. No, it fucking isn't, Zach. It's fucking not. You should be ashamed of yourself for even saying that. Like, look where we fucking are, Zach. But anyway, neither here nor there. What you can be doing right now, start talking to your friends and family that are kind of paralyzed with the information at hand, that are just disinterested in politics. This is not left-right. This is fascism versus democracy. It's right fucking here. We have reached that point of no return. No fear-mongering. It's here. It's fucking here. So please start having those conversations. Be active in your communities. Find out where protests are. Make your voices heard that way. But it's about staying engaged within your circle, within your community. If you live in an apartment building like I do, have those little bopping conversations. Just stay connected with people. Because we're in for a fucking long, brutal, I don't even know, a couple months? Jeez.
How far does Trump have to take this for y'all to realize this is 1930s Germany? How far does he have to take this for y'all to realize this is 1940s Italy? This is Mussolini. This is fascism at its highest. It's so infuriating that y'all are not seeing it. And we told y'all not to vote for him. And now that we told y'all this over and over and over and over again, we the ones that have to deal with the consequences. D.C., Maryland, Virginia, the DMV, people who work in the city. They're federalizing D.C. police. They're sending the National Guard. They're deploying the National Guard. D.C. isn't even top 10 in crimes in the country. The 10th most dangerous city in America is in Colorado. There's no National Guard going to Colorado. I mean, how far does he have to take this? There's no freedom of press. He's deploying the National Guard. He's attacking the homeless and the children in D.C. He's comparing D.C. to Bogota, Colombia. Does he just wake up and just spew out nonsense and then just deploy things? And who the... Oh my God. The amount of power and the amount of unconstitutional things that he's been able to do. It hasn't even been a year. It's barely been 6 months. I don't know, y'all. I don't even know what to say. I'm really...
President Donald Trump is securing himself inside Washington, D.C., and there is no doubt about it in my mind. People will forget that this is a really quiet story that's been out there. Well, it's pretty loud, but people are trying really hard to keep it quiet. And that is what's going on in Rockland County with a federal lawsuit that is challenging the results of the election. A federal judge has allowed this to go through, and they're moving into an evidentiary hearing this month, at the end of the month. Now, if there's evidence that comes out that something was done or tampered or machines were tampered with, and this election was null and void, because it's not just Rockland County. That's just where it's starting. I mean, you got to remember, in all these swing states, there was complete Democrat, 80% down the line, but then all the zero at the top of the ticket. There's a lot of things that don't quite make sense. Is he preparing for civil unrest? Is he trying to ensure that nobody's going to throw him out of that White House? But what would also happen if it comes out that President Donald Trump and his cronies did something to rig the election results? Starlink, Elon Musk, whoever the heck they need to do it. I mean, look at some of the stuff that they have been able to pull off because they don't play by the rules. What are your thoughts on this? Do you think that President Donald Trump may be secure in Washington, D.C. with the military and National Guard in case there is civil unrest? Because if it comes out, I have a feeling that Americans will be showing up to overthrow in droves. And when I say overthrow, it means demand that he leave office. There will be protests in the streets all across this country. I mean, that is where we are heading, guys. So is that what he's doing, you think? Possibly? Is he preparing? Let's see what the evidence has to say at the end of the month. And this isn't the only lawsuit. This isn't the only one that has legs. This is just scratching the surface. So once they figure out how it was done, they'll start looking at all the other results, all the other counties that didn't quite make sense, huh? There's even people in North Carolina. Yeah, that's probably why he ain't been too keen on giving them a lot more of their federal funding they need to help rebuild their lives there. Let me know what your thoughts are in the chat. Do you think he's trying to protect himself? Bye.
By the time Trump is done in the White House, Republicans will never vote red again. They will turn blue. In fact, they will want to paint the White House blue because the way Trump is tearing stuff up, listen, I don't care if they take over Chicago. I don't care what states or cities or whatever they take over. I'm not protesting. I'm not getting involved. This is what they wanted. This is what they voted for. This is what they get, right? I'm not getting involved. But by the time he's done in this White House, Republicans will be eating their words. They will be voting blue. I guarantee you the next president will be a Democrat. I don't care who runs. Anybody can run. They are going to win. As long as they are a Democrat, they are going to win. That's one. Listen, if you don't know what martial law is, I recommend you look it up. And you can look it up on ChatGPT. All you got to do is type in what is martial law. Is martial law coming to the United States? Is it happening in the United States? Ask those type of questions. What does martial law mean for me? Look into that. Go and get you a passport. You may want to go on a vacation. Get you and your kids passports. If I were you, that's what I would do because you may need a vacation, right? Also, look into crypto, look into meme coins if you have any extra money. Now's the time. I don't care if you have to work 3 or 4 jobs. Any money that you can make, you need to make it. Just my advice. No financial advice, no legal. Just my advice. Position yourself and become knowledgeable what's happening in this country. It's very important.
What do you do when you're a cornered politician and everything is basically falling apart around you? You make up stuff to distract the public's attention. Like today, Trumpy, our piece of shit president, is deploying 800 National Guard troops. Where? To Washington, D.C. Did Washington, D.C. ask for these troops, which are going to cost the taxpayers lots of money to deploy? No, they did not. The reason they did not is because crime is down sharply over the last 2 years. But wait, that's not what the president says. He said, quote, "Our capital city has been overtaken by violent gangs and bloodthirsty criminals." Overtaken. Holy shit. Send in the freaking National Guard. Sending in the National Guard. He's using FBI agents for things they are not trained to do as well. He wants to have direct control over the city, Washington, D.C.'s police force, because, he has lots of experience running a police force. Lots of Americans think that when those of us on the left keep saying we're becoming a fascist state, a dictatorship, a monarchy with a king, they just think we're talking rhetoric that's not real. It's real, folks. It's real. And it's happening right in front of your eyes. Open your eyes. He's the piece of shit president, the worst ever by far. The worst ever by far.
President Trump has taken control of the D.C. police and deployed 800 National Guards to the city. Here's what you need to know. So first off, how can you do this? Under the 1973 D.C. Home Rule Act, the president actually can take control of the police department in D.C. for 48 hours, and with congressional notification, can extend that up to 30 days. It can extend beyond 30 days if Congress approves it. The president is also the commander-in-chief for the National Guard in the District of Columbia, which is why he was able to deploy 800 National Guard members there. He's doing this because he feels like there's an upsurge in crime within the city and wants to deal with the homelessness problem. But within DC, violent crime has dropped by 35% in 2024, and so far in 2025, it's down by 26% on top of that. But with the police federalized, the District of Columbia is now technically a military state. And now every single officer and National Guard member that exists within the jurisdiction of Washington, D.C. now serves at the behest of the president. The president said, "Let me be crystal clear, crime is ending in D.C. as of today." He went on to say that if you're walking down the street, you will see FBI agents, you will see police officers. D.C. District Attorney Brian Schwalb said that these measures are unnecessary, unlawful, and unwarranted. One wonders if this is just one more distraction from the ongoing controversy surrounding the Epstein files. But in a very real and visceral way, this is the president using the right arm of the law to take control of the authority within the region that is Washington, D.C. And it is excessive, especially when crime is down. And if there is a want to deal away with the homeless population and other crimes being committed within the city, there are more efficacious and sustainable ways to do so. But for now, with the law as it is, the president is within his rights to assume control of the Metropolitan Police Department of D.C. Still, it is unprecedented, and where we go from here is uncharted waters.